I woke up one day and my face it looked like a stroke, basically. It's when one side of your face is paralyzed.
It is okay to take pauses, but it's never okay to give up.
The number one question was, what's wrong with your face?
How you doing today? I want to thank you for tuning in to the Content Aesthetic Show, where we take different med spa owners, different aesthetic professionals, and allow them to share their story to help you continue to impact and thrive in a major way. And on today's episode, we have JaKayla Fenderson. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I am blessed, JaKayla. I cannot complain.
Wonderful.
So, JaKayla, let us know what it is that you do to make an impact in your community and your business.
So in my community, I offer post-op care and weight loss. So I'm able to offer that, but not only that, I empower the women that come to me and help them with self-love, wellness, and wholeness.
I love that. Why is it your mission to help them with self-love and self-care and wholeness? So
I have a personal story, which is my Bell's palsy story. When I was about 12 years old, 6th grade, you're with all the mean kids at that time, middle school. I woke up one day and my face it looked like a stroke, basically. It's when one side of your face is paralyzed. And so through that, it shook my confidence. Like literally it changed who I was at that point in time. So I had to relearn self-love and care for myself. And over these past 15 years, I have learned that. So I've been able to incorporate that into my business and bring the women that come to me. We talk about everything under the sun. And so a lot of them leave feeling confident and happy, and they're looking in the mirror and they're like, okay, I'm coming back. I can't wait. So that's why I started.
How was that for you to be diagnosed with Bell's palsy?
So it was very hard at that age. Like I said, with all the mean kids, at that time they had, I don't remember what it was called, but you were able to ask anonymously questions online when we were in middle school. And so the number one question was, what's wrong with your face? And that just was, and they might have genuinely wanted to know, but the way it was said, it just shook you. It was just like, oh, why do you have to ask like that? Just ask me, personally, pull me to the side or something like that. So it could hurt sometimes.
How was that for you, like, to refine your confidence?
It's been a journey. Even to this day, I still are like, this is my good side. Let me smile this way and turn that way. And it's still a journey personally. And I have to remind myself, like, this is who you are. They're either going to accept you or they're not. And you need to love yourself regardless.
I love that. And what made you say, let me start my own business so I can help other women?
Having this story and wanting others to love themselves, to know that, you're going to get this surgery because you might have body dysmorphia. You might want the tummy tuck or the liposuction. So I'm able to help them to feel better, because they're always like, you come in with swelling, you're not feeling yourself, you have post-op depression or post-op blues. And so I'm able to talk with them about that and educate them on what they're going through and that it is normal.
I love that. So how is it balancing motherhood and entrepreneur and still having 9 to 5 as well?
It's tough. I work night shift at the hospital, 12-hour shifts. But I am able to balance it because I do something called contingent, which means I'm able to come in when I can. So I'll pick up the day before, even a few hours before. So if I'm too tired that week, clientele has picked up, I'm like, all right, well, I'm not going in this week. But as far as my child, that gets tough. Cause here I am dropping him off at his grandmother's house. And he's like, Mommy, no, stay home tonight. Stay home. I want to lay with you. I want to play with you. And I'm sorry, sorry, CJ, I gotta go. I'll be back, so we can go to the water park, so it's definitely tough. And I remember one time I actually called off. I'm like, I'm not going tonight. Like, he literally begged me. So I was like, oh, okay, I can't come in. So
how was that for you in that moment, knowing that your son won't time with you, but you have to spend time to build something for him that he might not understand at this moment?
Totally. I try to, he's 4 years old, so I do try to explain to him a little bit. And so he'll say, okay, mommy, but then we're getting ready to walk out the door and he's like, no, but don't go. And he'll say, I want to give you 1,000,000 kisses. And I'm like, okay. And so I'll stand there 5 more minutes or so. But I know that he doesn't totally understand. And he's just like, I want my mom at home. But I know that I have to get out there. I have to do this so that in a few years, I can be at your football games or your karate sessions or your music lessons, and I have the money to pay for that. So I know later on, all the work that I'm doing now will pay off with him.
Yeah. That's big. And I know your mother is an entrepreneur. Right? How has that been for you to know that your mother's an entrepreneur, you're an entrepreneur, and your son has the possibility to be one?
First of all, I love my mom so much. Like, she is my rock. Like, I don't even know if I couldn't do this without her at this point. Yes, so she's an entrepreneur and she's been in it as long as I can remember, probably 15, 20 years. So learning from her, seeing her obstacles, seeing the things that she's gone through, I'm able to be like, okay, I can do this, and she did it with 2 kids. I remember we lived at home, and she was doing sister locks out of the basement, and here she is in the living room. Or we had the basement was kind of finished. So my room was on the other side and she was doing sister locks on the other side. So it's it's possible, and you just have to build and know this is what you want and actually do it.
What is one of the big takeaways you take away from your mom, seeing your mom do that, that you apply into your business today?
So at one point when I was talking about starting the business, I would just call her. I'm like, oh, I can do this. I can add that to the business. I can have this and that. And she's like, okay, Kayla, you're doing all of this. When you gonna start? And I'm like, okay, I'm just so scared. And she's like, you can do it. You just have to start. So from that point on, I'm like, okay, let me try to secure the funding and get things started. Cause she's like, I'm not going to sit on the phone with you no longer. You put the work in and do it. So she's helped me so much.
So how was that for you, securing funding? Cause a lot of people, they don't know where to start or where to go and find resources.
So again, that happened with my mom as well. She found somewhere that gives funding specifically for minorities. And so I applied with them, and I was able to get a $5,000 loan initially. And so from that point, now I'm looking into more so grants, but that's what opened my doors. I was able to do more training, and then get the things that I needed. And I got all the basics, as basic as I could, because I'm like, this is $5,000. It's not going to go that far, but I'm going to make it go as far as I need to.
But that's life-changing, though, because it allowed you to open the door. Because without it, you probably would have been procrastinating to let that door open.
And was.
Yeah, I know, as entrepreneurs, man, big God works in mysterious ways. And when you least expect it, it comes to your doorstep. But you got to go seek it. And it's like when it comes to starting a business, we're going to get tested so many times. We're going to go through so many ups and downs. And we're going to want to make so many excuses. But the ones who don't and the ones who show up, no matter what, because you could have took that $5,000 and said, man, let me go on vacation. But you said, let me open my location.
Absolutely. Big difference. Yes. And it has been everything for me. I'm so glad. I'm so thankful for it. Because I'm coming up on a year in November. And so I initially started off the post-op portion in November, and then added on weight loss later, which was in February when I got the funding. So that's what got me here, and it's been working.
I love that. How
Mhm.
has mentorship, coaching, how has that helped you?
Tremendously. It was things that I just didn't know. You don't know what you know until you're like, oh, there it is. It's a lot of things that I was like, wow, once I put it into my business, it brought so much, even the marketing, the content. I wasn't doing that. I made like one little video and I'm like, okay, that did pretty good, but how do I continue this? And I, especially with the time that I do have or that I don't have, I just really needed help with the content.
And so what was that process like, getting help with your content?
So I went with you, which is king of content. And that process, I had you, or you were already in Michigan, so you came out to do a consultation with me. And I already knew before you walked through the door, I'm like, this is what I need, because I'm not posting. I don't know. I don't even know what to say. I don't know where to start. I don't know ads or anything like that. So it was like, I had to have somebody.
Yes. And how has that affected you and your business?
It was amazing because I was just starting off in February, adding the weight loss and liquid lipo. I wouldn't have been able to get my name out there as quickly as I did. I had like maybe 120 followers before I started with you. And at this point, I think I'm at almost 700 now. So it's helped a lot. And then a lot of my clients, they were even like, oh, I looked at you for this past month and now I've decided to come. Like, your education brought me in. I kept seeing you in the ads, so I knew it was time for me to come. So I'm like, hey, if I didn't have the content, I wouldn't have never had that client.
I love that. And I know for you, a biggest constraint for you was them calls and sales. Like, what would you say to an aesthetic professional that got to get on the phones and make them calls?
You got to do it, because they're not gonna come to you. You have to call them. You have to continue to call them, which that's something that I'm working on too. I can't say that I do continue to call, but I have brought in like a VA that also helps with just email and text messages. I still have to do the calls, and it's it's still hard. I'm like, sometimes I have a little anxiety about it. I'm like, oh, they may not answer, and sometimes they don't answer. I might have 7 or 8 calls and maybe 2 answer, and I'll be down about it, because out those 2, maybe 1 will go ahead and come in, but you have to do it, because regardless, like you say, it's a numbers game. So you just got to keep doing it.
How has you been on them calls? How has that increased your confidence?
Speaking. I don't like speaking in front of people. Like, when I'm just with my client, it's just her and I, like, I'm talking away. Like, if sometime I'll ask them, like, do you want a quiet session or are we talking today? But when it's in front of others or even on the phone, it can be hard. But I've been able, over these past few months, feel like I've got much better.
Yes.
I
love that. If you can shine light on one of your superpowers, what would it be and why?
One of my superpowers would be able to empathize with others, and deeply at that. Because when my clients come in, they're coming in for post-op a lot of times, or weight loss. So they're already shy about their bodies and things like that. So I tell them my story. I've been over 280 pounds before. So I have that journey. I have the Bell's palsy journey. I've been there. I know about self-love. I know about confidence. I know about not having any of it. So it's like, we talk about that.
I love that. That's big. And JaKayla, I want to let you know I'm proud of you, because I seen your start. Mm-hmm. I'm seeing your growth, and I just want you to know, just keep going. Because it's going to get hard. It's going to be hard, but it's going to be worth it.
Yes.
You got people counting on you. Every time I see your mother, I see how proud of you she is, and how encouraging she want to encourage. Like, she's proud of you.
Yeah.
I see your son when he comes in, and I just want you to keep going. I see how your friends support you. Your people support you.
Yeah.
So you have what it takes. You're going to be big. And I see your confidence growing, and you're speaking up. Like I see that. And so never give up, no matter what.
Yeah.
I know times is going to be timing. It is okay to take pauses, but it's never okay to give up.
Right.
And so I just want you to know that.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it because, yeah, it's been a journey. It's been a journey, but I've definitely gotten a lot better, a lot more confident. The fact that yesterday I ran up on a stage to try to win a grant, not even realizing that you probably got to talk or say something. I'm like, oh, shoot. But, I did that. And I'm like, I can continue to do that.
I love that. And continue to do that.
Yes.
I want to thank you for tuning in to the Content Aesthetic Show. And I want you to understand that your confidence is determined by you, not nobody else. Do not give people the power to determine if you do or if you don't, if you're beautiful or not. I want you to always control that. And it's all about just keeping your head up high, showing up, and caring and serving, and making sure you put yourself first, because that determines how you help other people. And so allow your aesthetic practice to help other people with the problems that they have. But understand that you still have to deal with yours. So don't run from them. Be a servant leader and make a difference. I'm Dontel Antonio, and I want to thank you for tuning in to the Content Aesthetic Show.